In this lesson, we are going to look at the animal cell structure and the plant cell structure. Now, let's define a cell. A cell is just a basic unit of a living organism. So therefore, what we are saying is all living organisms are made up of units called cells. Now, there are some organelles that are found inside of a cell. Organelles like nucleus, we have rough and smooth endoplasmic reticulum, we have ribosomes, mitochondria, then we also have chloroplast, and we also have structures like cell membrane. Now, the structures that we have from calling as organelles, each organelle in a cell has a specific function. Okay, so now the first one, let's first look at the structure known as, or the organelle known as the nucleus. So the nucleus is like the center of a cell, and this is the most important part of a cell because it controls all the activities or metabolic reaction that occurs within a cell. So now, apart from the function, we also have to know that the nucleus consists of parts like the DNA, it consists of the chromosomes, then also it is surrounded by a double nuclear membrane known as nuclear membrane. Okay, now from there, let's now try to see if we can give the functions of a nucleus. So the nucleus, we are saying it is the main controlling center of a cell. So we can say it controls all the metabolic reaction of a cell. That is one of the functions of a nucleus. Then the other function of the nucleus, we can say it stores genetic materials, such as we have the DNA are found inside the nucleus. Now, the function or the importance of the DNA is to transmit inherited characteristic from one generation to the next generation. Then number 2, we have the cytoplasm. Now, this is just a fluid. It is a fluid where the organelles are suspended. So, the first one, we can look at, like we can define what a cytoplasm is. The cytoplasm, it is just a jelly-like transparent substance. It consists mainly of water, organic and inorganic substances. Now, the functions of cytoplasm, the first function, since it's a fluid, we can have a picture like you fill a balloon with water. So that water inside a balloon is what we are referring to as cytoplasm. And you can have a picture where if that balloon were to burst and allow water to move out, we can see how it can shrink. So therefore, the cytoplasm helps the cell to maintain its shape. So that is the first function of the cytoplasm. So we can say it gives the cell shape. Then apart from giving the cell shape, we can also say it stores nutrients. It stores nutrients. Then also it acts as a solvent. Since it's a fluid, it acts as a solvent, meaning some of the solutes are able to dissolve in this cytoplasm. Then apart from acting as a solvent, it also a transporting medium for nutrients. So some of the nutrients, for them to move from the area where they're manufactured to the area where they are needed, they need a medium in terms of transportation. So the cytoplasm will now act as a transport medium. So transporting medium for nutrient. It acts as a transport medium. Then also the other function, we can look at the organelles such as the nucleus, mitochondria, rough and smooth endoplasmic reticulum, chloroplast. All these are suspended in this cytoplasm. Now let's move on. Let's get rid of this. Okay, so now we can move on to, let's look at the cell membrane. So the cell membrane is just a structure that separates the inside of a cell from the outside. Now here, this is a selective permeable membrane. So what it means by selective, it means it allows some substances to go in and out of the cell. So number one, let's look at some of the functions of the cell membrane. Since it is a membrane that, or a structure that separates the inside of a cell from the outside, the cell membrane holds the content of the cell together. So it holds the content of the cell together. So these organelles that are found inside the cell, they are held together by the cell membrane. So if this cell membrane were to be removed, the structures inside may be scattered. So that is the first function. We can say it holds Okay, so that is the first function. It holds the contents of the cell together. So then number two, we are saying it is a selective permeable membrane, which means that it's selective. So it selects what substance, or it allows some substances to go in and out of the cell. So we can say it is a selective permeable membrane which allows some substances to go in and out of a cell. So it's not every substance that should go in the cell, and also it is not every substance that should leave the cell. So this part acts like a security, where it selects, it allows some to go in and also it allows some to go out. So the substances that are still useful inside the cell, they are not going to be allowed in order for them to exit. So then away from there, let's also look at the structure like mitochondria. So as we can see, the mitochondria has a sausage shape-like structure. Now, this organelle is surrounded by an outer and inner membrane and filled with fluid called the matrix. So, inside the mitochondrion, each mitochondrion has a fluid what we call the matrix. Now, the main function of this mitochondria, it is where energy is released. So that is where the respiration occurs. That's why we can also have the other name for mitochondria. Mitochondria is also known as a powerhouse. So the reason why it is called a powerhouse of the cell, it is where the energy is released from the breaking down of the nutrients. Now, the other thing that we also need to know is that mitochondria contain their own DNA. So they don't have the same DNA that are found in the nucleus. The DNA that is found in the mitochondria, it is just for their mitochondria in order to make their own enzymes during the manufacture of energy. So we are saying here we have mitochondria. Mitochondria is plural. Then mitochondrion, that's singular. So we can say these are known as the powerhouse of a cell. Then the function, this is just the other name, the function. So this is where energy, is released from the breaking down of nutrients. So here we are saying it is the same as respiration. So this is where mitochondria, this is where the respiration occurs. And also we need to know that the respiration is just the process by which energy is released from the breaking down of nutrients. Now we have some parts like muscles. Muscles require a lot of energy, and thus they have a lot of mitochondria. So now animal cells, in comparison, animal cells have more mitochondria than plant cells, because animal cells or animals require a lot of energy compared to plant cells. Like we move from one position to another, we require energy. For us to lift certain heavy object, we require energy. So in comparison, we are saying the cells of animals have more mitochondria than those of plants. Okay, so now let's see how we can now move on. Okay, so from there, let's look at these shaded parts. These round shaded parts, these are known as ribosomes. Okay, so these are ribosomes. Okay, so now let's look at some of the functions. So now the ribosomes are very small organelles. They are several, quite a number in one cell. So there are several thousand in one cell. Now here what you have to know is the function of ribosomes. This is where the proteins are made. So their main function is to make the proteins. Now if we look at the proteins, we are looking at enzymes, because if we can look at one of the characteristics of enzymes, we say enzymes are proteins in nature. And you know the importance of enzymes. They are there to speed up or to slow the metabolic reaction that occurs in an animal or a living organism. So therefore, if we say proteins, this is where the proteins are made. remember that we are also saying this is where the enzymes are made, because we know the importance of enzymes. Enzymes are very important and they are needed inside the cell because they are reactions that occurs inside the cell that requires the presence of enzymes. So we can say this is where proteins are made. Okay, so now from there, let's look at the Golgi body. Now the Golgi body or Golgi apparatus consists of folded, flattened membrane. Some of the ends form vesicles. So what we are saying is these. So these are Golgi apparatus. So even here, these are Golgi apparatus. So the Golgi or Golgi apparatus, the main functions or function of this part, it is the part of the transport system, which means that this part transports the proteins from where they are made, like from the ribozymes in the endoplasmic reticulum, and maybe transported them to where they are needed. So this is just a transport system. Transport. So transports proteins from where they are made to the site of reaction or to the site of usable. So now here, maybe in order to, if you want to like reduce the answer, if it may seem long for you, you can just say it is a transport system for proteins. Remember, we say the proteins or the enzymes are made in the ribosomes. Now, the ribosomes, it is just like a manufacturing industry. That is where they are manufactured. And the same proteins or enzymes may be needed in some areas for certain chemical reaction. Now, for these enzymes to move from where they are made to the site where they are needed, the Golgi apparatus now comes in to work as a transport. So therefore, they are just transported. Then from there, we can also look at the endoplasmic reticulum. Now for this endoplasmic reticulum, there are two types of endoplasmic reticulum. So the one surrounded with the ribosome is known as RAF. RAF endoplasmic reticulum. Then for the one with no ribosomes on its surface is known as smooth endoplasmic reticulum. Okay, so now for these, let's first look at the first one, RAF, the function of the RAF, endoplasmic reticulum. So the function of RAF endoplasmic reticulum, this is where the proteins are made and also transport. So this one has two functions. The first one, to make the proteins and also transport them. So you can say this is where This is where proteins are made. And transported. Okay, then let's look at now smooth. So for smooth endoplasmic reticulum, this one, as we said, the smooth endoplasmic reticulum has no ribosomes. So therefore, what we are saying is this is where stuffs like lipids are made. So this is just where the lipids are made. Okay, now let's okay, now we can move on to, let's look at the chloroplast. Now for a chloroplast is only found in plant cells. So animal cell does not contain chloroplast. Then also we need to know that chloroplast consists of a green pigment known as chlorophyll, and the function of chlorophyll is to trap the sunlight needed for the process of photosynthesis. So that is the most important part of the chlorophyll. So it is just to trap the chemical energy, I mean the sunlight, the energy in terms of needed for the process of photosynthesis. So we can look at now chloroplast. So number one, we'll say it contains a green pigment known as chlorophyll. So the function, now before we look at the function also, we need to know that this same green pigment is surrounded by membranes known as thylakoids. So the thylakoids are folded on top of each other to form what we call a grana, then cingulum, granum. Now here it is filled up with a liquid called the stroma. So inside the chloroplast there is a liquid, what we call a stroma. Then the same chloroplast is surrounded by a membrane known as a thylakoid. Then the main function, we can say this is where the process, so this is where the process of photosynthesis occurs. So then also away from this, we can look at this, the outer part of the plant cell. This is known as a cell wall. Now the animal cell does not contain the cell. So sometimes you may be asked to differentiate the plant cell from an animal cell. So we can see that plant cell has a cell wall while animal cell does not. Plant cell has chloroplast while animal cell does not. Then also we can look at the shape. The shape of a plant cell is regular. It has a definite shape, while for animal cell it is irregular. So let's look at now the function of the cell wall. So one thing that you need to look at is in between the cell membrane and the cell wall, there is a sugar known as a cellulose. Then the function of the cellulose, it is to form the cell, or the cell wall is produced from the cellulose. So the first function of the cell wall, we can say it protects the inner parts of a plant cell. It protects the inner parts of a plant cell. Okay, then the second one. So as we can see, it is just the outer party. So we can also give it provides the cell with support. Then also it keeps the cell upright. So this shape of a plant cell, like the regular shape, the definite shape of a plant cell, is also brought by the cell wall. So we can say it provides a plant cell with a regular shape. Okay, so now there are so many other organelles or parts that are found in a cell, but these are the parts that we are going to look at. We can also see that from the plant cell we have this party, the inside party, which is known as a vacuole, and this one contains a cell sample, which is consists of a salt solution. Then also this membrane that surrounds the vacuole is known as a tonoplast. So now we'll just look at so these are just some of the parts, the common ones that are found in a cell. So that's it for this video. Thanks for watching.